Minnesota man is waiting on the state patrol to pay up. Records show a trooper crashed into him last summer, leaving his car totaled, his daughter hurt, and stuck with a bill he says he shouldn't have to pay. Investigative reporter Ryan Raish has the video, the reaction, and the reason the state says it's not paying.
Are you okay?
Oh, she's not okay, dude.
You need an ambulance started.
Months after this crash with the state patrol. And that officer's sigh sums up the experience for Jamie Kruger.
It sucked.
Last summer, Kruger was with his 17-year-old daughter, Genevieve, driving on Highway 23 to Marshall, Minnesota. In front of them, a new state patrol trooper, still learning the ropes from a more senior officer. The trooper spotted this suspected speeding car going the opposite direction. He slowed to the shoulder and boom. Without warning, lights, or sirens, he struck the Krugers.
When he hit me, it was like slow motion.
The Krugers were in the wrong place at the wrong time.
It was not fun. It was a very scary feeling.
What is going on here? I felt like the Twilight Zone was happening. When I saw two cops get out of the car, I was like, oh my God.
In the heat of the moment, tensions flared, even from Genevieve, who took the brunt of the impact.
What was that for?
Are you okay?
Well, I yelled at them because I couldn't believe that they had hit us.
No, why would you do that, though?
You need an ambulance started.
No, why would you do that, though?
He was turning on the car and didn't see you.
He didn't see you. That last statement sounded to Kruger like an admission of fault. Even the accident report listed the trooper's improper turn or merge as a contributing factor of the crash.
I mean, it was totally completely his fault, right?
Okay.
Kruger and his daughter were both checked out at the hospital for minor injuries. But before leaving the scene, the trooper gave him final instructions on what happens next.
State of Minnesota self-insured, so that's the number that you give the insurance company. Okay. And this is the case number.
Okay. So call State Farm and doing this? Sounds good.
If only it were that easy. Kruger's car was deemed a total loss. And while his insurance handled it, he was still on the hook for his $1,000 deductible. He tried getting it back from the state.
I'm not looking for a lottery ticket here. I'm looking for accountability. I'm looking for the right thing to be done.
After months of asking, the state eventually sent this letter saying we are unable to consider your claim for payment. The reason? Immunity applies, meaning official immunity, a sort of shield from liability for government workers.
I think that's a real shame.
We showed the letter to attorney Alicia Granzi at the ACLU of Minnesota.
It's very difficult to hold government agents accountable in any sphere.
Official immunity and qualified immunity have been priorities for the ACLU in recent years as they try to limit the scope of how often the government uses it as a defense. Granzi says she's never seen it used to deny a deductible claim.
We don't want to penalize necessarily government agents who make a mistake, but they should at least acknowledge the harm and try to make things right.
The Minnesota Department of Administration, which handles these issues, said it does not comment on the details of claims or litigation. The State Patrol is not talking either, but confirmed that new trooper who caused the crash left the force 2 weeks later.
I knew you were behind us, but I didn't have time to say anything.
Well, yeah, I feel bad for him. Just tell him not to let it get to him.
Kruger says this is less about the trooper and more about the state dodging accountability.
Blows my mind that they will not do the right thing and pay $1,000 deductible. It's just crazy to think about.
In its denial letter, the Department of Administration cited another case where someone sued a trooper who caused an accident and injured him. The Court of Appeals found official immunity does apply and shields the state from that lawsuit. But in this case, nobody has sued. The ACLU thinks this is the state's way of saying, don't bother suing because you will lose. And we should point out the State Patrol is investigating this crash. They did it themselves. Records show the trooper was not cited.
Any idea why a ticket was an issue?
Well, again, they're not talking, they're not commenting, but we do know the State Patrol has discretion on whether to issue tickets in accidents.
Just doesn't seem like the right thing.
We'll stay on it.
Just an opinion. Okay.
Welcome back to Amber Light, where we keep that light shining into the darkness. Qualified immunity equals no accountability. I'll say that again. Qualified immunity equals no accountability. Here we have this rather seemingly innocent situation out of Minnesota very recently here, where Jamie Kruger and his daughter are just driving down the road. All of the sudden, in front of them, a police officer tries to do a U-turn right in front of them without any lights shining, sirens, anything. This actually happened to me one time, except it didn't cause a crash. I had to slam on my brakes. I was with my wife. All of a sudden, an officer in front of us tries to, does a U-turn. It was shocking. But in this case, what's really most disturbing is that the state is denying Jamie Kruger a simple $1,000 to help him pay his deductible. He even said in the video, they won't even, I'm going to paraphrase, they won't even do the right thing. Nope. Instead, they're going to hide behind their qualified immunity. Let's get into this. From the website the Equal Justice Initiative on qualified immunity, this legal doctrine limits legal remedies for victims of police violence or misconduct. We'll scroll down here just a bit here and take a look at it. Just some history. Americans were first empowered to challenge police misconduct in 1871 when Congress passed a law allowing lawsuits against state and local authorities who refused to protect African Americans from or even participated in racial terror, lynchings, and other acts of racial violence by groups like the Ku Klux Klan, KKK. In 1967, the Supreme Court limited that right by announcing a legal doctrine called qualified immunity, ostensibly to protect government employees from frivolous lawsuits. Instead, Supreme Court precedent has effectively created, as Justice Sonia Sotomayor put it, an absolute shield against accountability for police officers accused of using excessive force. Skipping down the website a little bit, in recent years, judges have often ignored altogether the question of whether an officer acted unlawfully. That's the key with qualified immunity: is do they act unlawfully or violate somebody's constitutional rights? If not, then they're immune, right? That way, courts avoid setting precedent for future cases, which allows the same conduct to repeatedly go unpunished. As one federal judge summarized, this is a catch-22. Plaintiffs are people that are going to be filing suits against the state. Plaintiffs must produce precedent, even as fewer courts are producing precedent. Important constitutional questions go unanswered because no one has answered them before. Courts rely on that judicial silence to conclude there's no equivalent case on the books. No precedent equals no clearly established law equals no liability. Hence, therefore, I say qualified immunity equals no accountability. What they're saying here on this website is that the problem with this whole doctrine is that there isn't a lot of precedent in the judicial system that defines or differentiates what constitutes accountability for state actors, as long as they are not acting unlawfully or violating constitutional rights. There it is. And again and again and again, what the police have the power. The burden of proof is on the plaintiff. I'll read that last statement here. Qualified immunity has come to mean that even when officers act illegally and maliciously and cause serious harm, courts refuse to repair the injury, instead allowing officers to get away with misconduct. And there it is. My whole channel is really about police corruption. And this qualified immunity stands behind a lot of it. Keep in mind, it isn't just police corruption. Qualified immunity applies for judicial systems, prosecutors, all the above. State actors are covered, protected by this qualified immunity, unlike the rest of us citizens who can be liable for our own actions. Skipping down the website a little bit, what can we do? So, yeah, given all this, what can we do? Well, the website, sadly, I think it doesn't give us much. We, the Supreme Court or Congress, they could end all this. This is what the website says. Maybe we need to call congressmen, advocate for the Supreme Court to move. Who knows? There maybe political action here might maybe be the solution. But ultimately, it is up to the Supreme Court or Congress. Sliding down just a bit here, I'll wrap up off of this website just with these last two paragraphs. Qualified immunity shields police officers, including those who've engaged in excessive force, from even going to trial. Ending qualified immunity doesn't mean police would automatically be held liable for alleged excessive force or other violations, I would say. And here's a key. But it would mean that people who are harmed by police could get their day in court, and that's lacking right now. The prospect of going to trial and having to pay settlements or jury awards would deter. It's about deterrence for police officers, right? We citizens are deterred by the law. Why aren't police officers also likewise deterred from violating our civil rights and constitutional rights? These things would deter individual officers from engaging in excessive force or violating civilians' rights. It would provide a financial incentive for departments and elected officials to make the changes needed to eliminate police violence and misconduct. And all of this is important because, as we've shown again and again many times here on this channel and other channels that are just like mine, the police seem to have no accountability for what they do, and their actions have serious and severe consequences. They're human beings. I get that. And human beings are fallible. Human beings make mistakes. But there needs to be accountability, especially in situations when there are tremendous consequences, as in what I'm about to show you. Out of San Diego, California, on July 28th of this year, 2025, police officers were investigating an assault charge when they heard gunshots in a distance. So they didn't have a lot of information, a lot of facts about what was happening, but they began to investigate. Here is the live body cam video of Officer Daniel Gold. This video was released by the San Diego Police Department, Central Division, in order to try as an attempt to show public transparency. And what is about to happen will shock you. It's hard to watch. It's disturbing to watch. But I'm going to go ahead and play it here. Then I'll pause and add some commentary.
San Diego Police!
Hard to watch, I know. But this was a 16-year-old boy, a black boy, of course. We see that again and again and again in our nation. It just seems like young black people are, I don't know, easy targets. I don't have the answers for that. But 16-year-old boy, he's running around a corner doing nothing illegal. There's been gunshots in an area and he's running away from it, like probably most any citizen would do. Surprises Officer Daniel Gold. And within a second, less than a second of Daniel Gold seeing this person come running around the corner, Daniel's shooting at him. He doesn't have any facts. He doesn't know anything about anything. All he knows is that there's been gunshots off in the distance. Here comes somebody running, and what does he do? He takes his life. This 16-year-old boy died of his injuries. From what I've been able to gather, the initial police report said, well, yeah, they found a gun on his body. Oh, okay. They justified their action with that publicly here, from what I'm understanding. What went out to the public was, yeah, this was one of the suspects in the shooting. Again, from the San Diego police website where they released the body cams, it also shows some CCTV cameras in the area. On the bottom left, you can see two people standing there. These are the shooters. This is where the gunshots that were heard by the police a block over. This is where it happened. The young man walking toward them is our 16-year-old victim who was shot and killed by police officer Daniel Gold within a second of having seen him. There's no sound to this, but I'm going to go ahead and play and just let you see what actually happens. Our victim comes walking up. He does have a gun. We know that. He has a gun, so he's now, it looks like maybe he might be reaching for that gun. So, he's probably not perfect himself. Now there's gunshots. He turns, he's running away, and now at least one of the perpetrators is shooting at him twice. Now they're turning away to run. And here then this 16-year-old boy makes the corner, where now he will be shot as soon as he comes out on the other end. Here's a screenshot of the video from another YouTube channel. And, I had some questions because clearly the young man here had a gun in his back, behind, tucked in his pants behind him. And he's running now from the scene of a shooting. He's running for safety. But the picture on the left, the question that I had was, did he still have the gun in his hand? No. You can see that very clearly. He does not have a gun in his hand. Officer Daniel Gold, just in a split second, shoots him. Again, without any facts, any data, any information. And it's probably because he knows that there's no qualified immunity. Qualified immunity equals no accountability. Again, I'm not saying this 16-year-old young man is innocent. He's got a gun. He probably, he's probably a thug. I don't know. I mean, out of respect for his family, maybe I shouldn't say that. He's making some mistakes. Let's leave it at that. But in this particular moment, by what the officer observes, he's just somebody running away from a shooting. And the officer shoots him. There will be no accountability here. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. No matter what the family does, no matter what the public outcry is, there will be no accountability for this police officer. Qualified immunity equals no accountability. And if at all possible, we need to change that with our laws. Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked the video, please like, subscribe, and we will see you again sometime soon on Amber Light.